Good morning, fifth grade. Today we're going to continue reading in our Civil War text, and we are going to be looking at the Battle of Gettysburg. So you have a quick write. It says, describe a time when you thought you were going to lose a game or fail something, but you succeeded. What did you do to succeed? Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the focus question. Again, we want to know what is the main idea of the text, and we're also going to be looking at why was the Battle of Gettysburg a significant battle in the war. And our vocabulary questions are, the first one is bordering. So if something is bordering something else, it means it's on the edge of or beside it. So we have there are several states that are bordering Texas. So Louisiana borders Texas, Arkansas borders Texas, Oklahoma borders Texas. All right, the next word is charge. And when you're thinking about charge in a military sense, that's a group of people going towards a goal. Or they're trying to destroy their enemy, so they're all going to run and charge at the enemy. Our next word is dusk, and dusk is a time of day right before it gets dark, when the sun is just about to go away. We will call that dusk. Turn the page, and we need you to open up in your text to the article about Gettysburg on page 42 and 43. And just like with all nonfiction texts, we're going to ask that how or why question about the title so that we can figure out our main idea. And so for the title Gettysburg, I would say, why was the Battle of Gettysburg important? Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to read. And remember, as we're reading, we're going to underline our answer to that question. Why was the Battle of Gettysburg important? I'm at Gettysburg. Follow along in your text. Gettysburg is a small town in Pennsylvania just north of the Maryland state line. In the summer of 1863, Confederate General Robert E. Lee marched 75,000 men north to invade Union territory. On July 1st, a small Union force met and fought them there until reinforcements arrived. The Union leader, General George Meade, had an army of more than 88,000 men. The next day, the troops fought over important spots bordering the town. On the morning of July 3rd, there was a fight around Culp's Hill. Then Lee told a division led by Major General George Pickett to attack Meade's battle line. Thousands of Confederates ran directly at Union cannons and riflemen. A huge number of Southerners were killed and wounded during Pickett's charge. This defeat forced Lee to retreat south on July 4th. His fight with Meade was the largest battle ever fought in North America. And so there's a couple of things that I could underline, namely at the end where it talks about how Lee had to retreat and that this was the largest fight ever in North America. And so for my main idea, I would say Gettysburg was a significant battle in the Civil War because a large number of Confederate soldiers were killed and the Confederate Army surrendered. And we know that a large number were killed because it says in our text, a huge number of Southerners were killed and wounded. And then it tells us about how the South surrendered. So make sure you have those two sentences underlined in your text and press pause to write down your main idea. 2A says, who won the Battle of Gettysburg and how? And if we go back in our text, it tells us that Lee was forced to retreat, and Lee is with the Confederate Army. So if the Confederate Army retreated or ran away, we know that the Union Army won. And if we go back and reread, we know that General Meade, he gave the Union Army reinforcements. He gave them 88,000 men, more men, and the South only had 75,000 men. So for 2A, we would write, the Union Army won the Battle of Gettysburg because the Confederate Army retreated. And in 2, press pause to silently write down your answer and play when you're ready for 2B. It says, what obstacles did the Confederate soldiers encounter during the battle? And so if we're thinking about the Confederate soldiers, we know they did not have as many men as the Union Army. So that is a major obstacle. For 2B, we would say the Confederate Army did not have as many men as the Union Army. And you could even write these two quotes from the text. According to the text, Lee marched 75,000 north to invade Union territory. The text also says the Union leader, General George Meade, had an army of more than 80,000 men. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for number 3. And for number 3, we're going to go to the bottom of page, or the middle of page 43, to the caption that says Little Round Top. And this is a picture of the hill called Little Round Top. The caption says, this hill gave soldiers a good view of the battlefield. Both armies knew they had to seize it to win. Southern troops charged it, but were defeated by the 20th Maine Regiment. The Maine troops ran out of bullets, but they surprised the Southerners with a bayonet charge. All right, so 3A says, why did both armies want to get to Little Round Top? And our text tells us it has a good view of the battlefield and they had to seize it in order to win. And so in 3A, we would write both armies wanted to get to Little Round Top because it was on a hill and the higher ground gave the army an advantage in battle. And we know because our text says that's because they could see everything. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 3B. How did the Union seize Little Round Top? Well, if we go back in our text, it says the Maine troops ran out of bullets, but they surprised the Southerners with a bayonet charge. So in 3B, we would write, the Union Army seized Little Round Top by surprising the Southerners with a bayonet charge. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for box 4. It says, what effect did the Battle of Little Round Top have on the outcome of the overall Battle of Gettysburg? And so we know that both teams, both armies, wanted to get to Little Round Top because it had a good view of the battlefield. They'd be able to see everything and they would have the advantage to be able to make smart, calculated decisions about how to win. And so because the Union was able to get to the battle, was able to get to Little Round Top first, they actually were able to win the battle. So in 4A, we would write, the Battle of Little Round Top gave the Union the advantage of higher ground, which helped them win the war. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 4B. How did the dusk attack affect the outcome of the battle at Gettysburg? And so we would actually go up to the middle of page 42 where it says dusk attack, and we're going to read this caption. At dusk on July 2nd, 2 Confederate brigades from General Early's division rushed Union troops at the gatehouse of the Gettysburg Cemetery. Union reinforcements pushed them back with many casualties or deaths. Newspaper artist Arthur Burghouse sketched the attack. And this is the picture that he's referring to. So our question says, how did the dusk attack affect the outcome of the Battle of Gettysburg? And we know that the Union Army received reinforcements and they were able to push the Confederate Army back. And in the end, the Union ultimately won the Battle of Gettysburg. So the desk attack actually helped the Union win. So in 4B, we would say the Union received reinforcements, which resulted in many Confederate casualties. This helped the Union win the battle. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the paragraph. It says, why is the Battle of Gettysburg important? And you can use your main idea and the details that you've already gathered to help you write your paragraph.